Ladies and gentlemen, there is a desperate attempt by William Samoei Ruto together with the Kenya Kwanza administration to block the planned Sabasaba protest that is scheduled to happen on Monday, 7th July 2025. Now, this chilling and devastating information has been leaked by Rigathi Gachagua, who has claimed that some top officials from Kenya Kwanza government are now holding secret meetings with goons and rogue police officers who are going to disrupt the Monday's protest.
Kuna hii maneno yanasemekana ya Monday ya Sabasaba. Saa hii tunaongea saa hii. Wale goons ambaye wanapangwa wanakutana pale Sun City Hotel Sagana. Mkutano unaendelea saa hii na polisi wako hapo na goons.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now very clear that the only language that William Samoei Ruto together with his Kenya Kwanza administration understands is the language of constant protests and demonstrations.
Lazima president ajue kuchaguliwa ama kupewa nafasi ya president ni watu wanakupatiaga nguvu za kuwa president. Na lazima ajue nguvu zote ni za raia.
And at the end of this particular video, I'm going to play for you a video of some key Kenya Kwanza officials operating with goons to disrupt the Sabasaba protest that is scheduled to happen on Monday. But first, the current Sabasaba protest is now taking a fresh turn, and the latest ones targeting William Samoei Ruto's regime is even now worse.
Ruto hii Sabasaba ndio tunajipanga. Raundi sasa mbaya. Ruto tunasema one time.
Now, Kenyans, especially the Gen Zs, are now pointing fingers at the regime of William Samoei Ruto, threatening to dethrone William Samoei Ruto. And in the planned protest that is going to happen tomorrow, several Kenyans are vowed to occupy State House.
Tunakuambia kwamba hata Sabasaba tunakuja. Kuna Sabasaba bado. Na Ruto tunakuambia ni one time. Raundi hatukupembelezi. Umeamua ni live bullet. Pia sisi tuko ready kuface hizo bullet. Tutaingia mpaka kwa State House.
And that means that William Samoei Ruto's regime is facing a lot of backlash from the citizens of Republic of Kenya.
What William Ruto talked last week, that man is frightened. He is frightened. Okay? This system is frightened. You hear them, the system talk about shooting people. They are frightened.
This is what Sabasaba protest is supposed to be. Now, the Sabasaba protest was a protest that was held in 1990 by key opposition leaders by then, who included Raila Amolo Odinga, Kenneth Matiba, and Charles Rubia. Now, these key opposition leaders by then liberated this country from the yokes of one-party democracy under the leadership of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi and his famous one-party KANU to the now cherished multi-party democracy that we are enjoying up to date. That was such a remarkable move that they made this country make. The goons that have since met with some Kenya Kwanza allies are now planning to disrupt that protest. And you remember very well that there is a bill that was going to be passed in Parliament to criminalize the protest in the Republic of Kenya, claiming that the protests that are happening in Kenya are destroying properties and causing a lot of harm to the protesters. But it is now clear that the people who are destroying the properties during protests are hired goons who are actually financed by the state.
Hiyo sio mambo ya Gen Z. Musidanganywe ni mtu ati ni watoto wenu ambao walikuwa wana demonstrate, walivunja hiyo kitu maua, walivunja police station. Sio watoto. It is not our children. It is not our children who are doing those things. It is not the Gen Z demonstrators who are doing those things. These things are planned by criminals.
And that chilling and shocking revelation is now making it clear that William Samoei Ruto knows whatever is happening in the protests. The Gen Zs of this country are vowed to make William Samoei Ruto to be a one-term president. And the Gen Z force is becoming a very strong political force in the Republic of Kenya for William Samoei Ruto to reckon with. First and foremost, the Gen Zs are pointing out at the regime of William Samoei Ruto for being grossly incompetent.
Kulingana na hii serikali ya Ruto na mzee Raila Odinga is the worst. Yani imefika mahali Raila anapigwa mawe mpaka Nyanza. Mpaka Nyanza Raila, surely. Raila wewe unafaa ufunguke macho pia.
They are pointing fingers at the regime of William Samoei Ruto for failing to fulfill and honor its promises. Remember, when William Samoei Ruto got into power, they had a very good agenda to transform this country, but all was just a lie. Several humanitarian groups and human rights activists have actually accused William Samoei Ruto's regime for extrajudicial killings, for unemployment, and for devaluing human dignity. These have been seen, ladies and gentlemen, from the previous protests, ranging from the protest of the killing the blogger and teacher Albert Ojwang and the blatant shooting of a mask vendor to death in Nairobi CBD. These human rights activists have called William Samoei Ruto to respect human dignity, to actually uphold the rule of law. And with the recent remarks of the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, Kenyans have even been agitated further.
Mheshimiwa Interior of Security Mheshimiwa Kipchumba Murkomen, wacha tukuje tukufe.
Na tumeambia polisi, mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station piga yeye risasi.
And remember that the Gen Zs of this country are not even afraid of death. They are saying that they are not having anything to lose. And that is the reason as to why William Samoei Ruto should be very careful. Remember, this is the same generation that invaded the parliament. And now the kind of demonstration that is going to be showcased in Sabasaba demonstration is going to be big. Previously, the protests in this country were viewed to be Luo-centric.
Wenye wataenda maandamano, muende maandamano ingine lakini si Sabasaba. Sabasaba inakuanga yetu.
And now the Luos have said that they are not going to protest because they are in the government. Remember, in the Sabasaba protest, Raila Amolo Odinga was one of the key opposition leaders who were at the forefront to fight for multi-party democracy. But now, in the recent Sabasaba protest, Raila Amolo Odinga is in the government. Do you think that Raila Amolo Odinga is going to come out in the Sabasaba protest to protest against the leadership of William Samoei Ruto? And that is the reason as to why I just leave the comment section open for you to actually give me your thoughts on that. Ladies and gentlemen, several Kenyans have likened the leadership of William Samoei Ruto to the leadership of Moi era, whereby they are saying that Kenya is slowly backtracking to the authoritarian kind of leadership. Now, it seems that Kenyans are still having unfinished business with democracy. And it is now a sobering reminder to William Samoei Ruto that electoral victory is not a guarantee to leadership legitimacy. Now, this is Alois TV. In the event you're watching me for the first time, then please join my channel by hitting the subscribe button. To the existing subscribers, I just want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Without further ado, let's meet in the next one.